it. If yes, so the recording has started. If you want to, turn off your camera, you can. If you want to leave it on, we love it. So we know, we see the faces we're speaking with, but it's your choice. So yeah, it's recorded for now. Okay, great. So Peter, I'll give mic to you.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, welcome everyone. This is such it's such a privilege because when you're creating something like this. Oh, actually, everyone just make sure they're muted on their
computers. Feedback.
Yeah. Lisa, I think you still need to mute yours if you can.
It's going round and round. I'm trying.
Oh, okay. No worries. Well, hopefully the feedback isn't too bad.
We all share.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so exciting seeing obviously familiar faces, people I know here. I feel so delighted to be sharing this with them, and then lots of new faces.
I think
it's still a bit echoey
to get to know. Do you think it's yours? Do you need to mute yours as well? Would that work?
Yes, I think so. Okay, I'll mute myself now. Yeah. Okay.
We're the stick in the mud.
There we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Gives a thumbs up. Was it good? Yay! Yeah. So lots of people. Very happy to see you, all of you, whether it's people I know or new people. Thank you so much for jumping on. In Australia, it's the sun's just gone down, and for the UK, the sun's rising. So yeah, just thank you for sharing your presence with us, and we're really excited to share this presentation. Basically, we're just going to talk about the Camino de Santiago and pilgrimages, what that means, what's it about, what is it, and why you should walk one, or why we think you should walk one. And also we're going to talk a little about Retreats in Motion, which is something that we're offering this July. And then we're going to do some breath work. So really excited to share all of this with you. At the end of the presentation, we'll open it up to questions and answers. So as you're listening, if something comes up, just jot it down, and there'll be time at the end where you can ask a question. All right, so let's get to it. That's where the technical expertise comes in. All righty. Okay, so here we are. The Camino de Santiago, your transformational journey awaits. So yeah, we're going to cover what is the Camino, why you should walk it, Retreats in Motion, what's that's about. We'll have the Q&A, and then we'll get down to the breath meditation. And I just want to draw your eye to this image on the right-hand side. Obviously, this is a stylized image, but it really captures the essence, or part of the essence, of what it is to walk a pilgrimage. You can see this silhouetted hiker here in nature and confronted by the glory of the cosmos, right? And I think we all yearn for these moments. And when we find ourselves beneath the stars, we experience that beautiful presence and timeless quality that connects us to all the important people in our life, all the important moments. It's like they all just happen at once. So hopefully we can, you will one day find yourself on the Camino under the stars like this. So a little bit about myself. Obviously, some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm an author of Walk With Me, When Grief Passes, Love Remains. I've been working as a breath and somatic therapist for 12 years. Previously, one of the many jobs I've done, I worked as a support worker for people with mental health, addiction, and high complex needs, as well as homelessness in London. And now I'm a pilgrimage guide and founder of Retreats in Motion. And I first walked the Camino in 2010, then in 2020, and I've done sections in 23 and 24, as well as the first Retreats in Motion in 2024. And I've also walked things like the Via Francigena, which is kind of the Camino's big sister pilgrimage. It's 2,000 kilometers from Canterbury to Rome. And I also solo hiked for 30 days in the Himalayas to the base camp of Annapurna. and Machu Picchu and other such places. So yeah, going on big long walks is something that I'm really passionate about. So yeah, I met Vaida at a retreat last year, and we just really hit it off. We were having great discussions about dreams and spirituality and just the journey of the heart, right? And the different modalities we tried, with plant medicines or breath work or different processes we'd been in, and how that all fit together. And I was just really felt that kindred spirit. And since then, I've been blessed to get to know Scott. And so I'm really excited to be co-creating Retreats in Motion this year. So I'm just going to hand it over to Vaida or Scott, and maybe you can just offer a little bit about what you guys do, maybe just for a moment would be good. Oops.
Yes, so I let Scott to introduce us, but yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, it was amazing meeting Peter, and when souls click, they click, and things start evolving and the creation start happening. So we really appreciate you all being part of that. And yeah, it was amazing journey so far, and I can't wait to see where it evolves. You forgot to mention dance, Peter. That's where we really connected on the dance floor. We were raining sober for 4 days nonstop. Yes. So you might have some of that in the retreat as well. But yeah, let Scott introduce us.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be here. And for those that don't know, we're Scott and Vaida, the founders of Conscious Fit Coaches. And we are holistic, plant-based wellness coaches with a huge emphasis on mindset, self-love, and really addressing the root causes of what's keeping people stuck, addressing those blind spots, those shadows, those blockages. So we focus on nutrition, plant-based nutrition, obviously movement, but a huge emphasis on that mindset and mental health as well. We had our own semi-pilgrimage. I guess it was more of a mission than a pilgrimage about 5 years ago when we lost my father. And he was a keen climber in his younger years, and his favorite mountain was the Matterhorn in Switzerland, but he never managed to climb it. So in deep grief, I got this idea for myself and Vaida to climb the Matterhorn to scatter his ashes. And it turned into this 2-year adventure and pilgrimage. And we didn't make it the first time, but the second time out, we got to the top of the Matterhorn, had a ceremony at the top and scattered his ashes. And it was absolutely beautiful. So we're big believers in the healing power of nature, of walks, of climbs. Whatever you're going through in life, whether it's grief, whether it's personal growth or transformation, it's such a powerful thing to do. So super excited to be collaborating with Peter on this.
Yeah, and I just want to add that our mission is to really show how powerful you guys are, even you know it or not, and through walking and, that sweat and feeling maybe some blisters on your feet, that's a real embodiment of growing that power from within, and really radiating that of who you really are, whatever that might be. I think sometimes we forget that there is a lot of negative inner self-talk we see people having, and we really believe that to find yourself, it's the easiest way to find nature, because we are nature. So when we reconnect, it really helps us to heal and find that true authentic power within ourselves. And of course, adding that pilgrimage, spice to it, which is of course opening the whole world of spirituality, gives even more opportunity to grow and heal and really connect to the depths of your soul and the whole cosmos and the universe. So we are big believers in magic, in synchronicities, in the path unfolding in front of us once we are in alignment. So we really want to help you to live a life that is in alignment to your values, to your views, to your heart's calling. So yeah, hopefully you can feel our passion, and we want to give that to you as well. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I follow your content, obviously, and, I see some of the successes that get posted of, your clients, and just the huge physical transformations that, you can see visibly, whether it's losing weight or getting in shape, health improving, all those things. And it's, you can't do those things. You can't separate them from the inner work, and so, yeah. And since we've connected, I just really feel the love between you both, and this sense of, you have big open arms for everyone to come into your family. And, I really love that about you guys. So yeah, really excited to, to keep expanding it. So enough of the mushy stuff. We'll move on. Okay, so the Camino de Santiago, what is it? There's actually many different Camino routes to Santiago, but the most famous one is known as the French Way. It starts in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. You cross over the Pyrenees and you follow the trail across northern Spain. It's roughly 800 kilometers to Santiago, then another 100 if you go on to Finisterre at the ocean. There's other routes that go up through Portugal, through southern Spain, along the northern route, along the coastline here. It's very arduous, that one. And of course, the trails run all the way through Europe, like arteries, essentially, in the body of Europe. And these are really based in history. Some of them are connected to old Roman roads, as an example, and even older trails that follow ley lines. So a couple of truths, just draw your eyes to at the bottom here. The Camino always gives more than it takes. So people often think 800 kilometers, how can I do that? And of course, there is an element of challenge, an element of physical effort. But it always gives you more than it takes. By the end of it, you're so much stronger, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And lastly, you're never alone on the Camino unless you want to be. And I found that to be so true. You can take as much time as you like walking alone, and you're always weaving it through civilization and back out into nature, into the countryside. And often, you might really want to be alone, and then life brings you in a synchronistic moment to just the right stranger to meet at just the right time. And, you experience incredible magic and shifts. So we really want to incorporate that into our retreat. We want to give you time to be alone, time to reflect in nature and to develop that relationship with nature, but also to really embrace and enjoy the fun and experience the kindness in the company of strangers as well. So, yeah, what is it really to go on a pilgrimage? What separates a pilgrimage from just going on a hike, right? So I met many people when I walked the Camino who said, I'm just here for a bit of exercise, or I'm just here to see the historic sites. And then after a week or 2 weeks, I'd bump into them again, and they were experiencing radical, profound change. This image here, those of you who've read Walk With Me may recognize this image. It's of a big iron cross that is about 3/4 of the way through, just after the desert area. And you can see the mound that people are standing on here. This is on a big cliff, so you get incredible panoramic views. And this mound that people are standing on, you think it's just soil, just dirt. But actually, when you begin to climb up this mound and you hear the crunch and you look down at your feet and you realize that every single thing you're standing on, from the smallest pebble to a large rock or boulder or something, is actually a token that a pilgrim has carried for about 500 or 600 kilometers at that point, and written into the stones, carved into pieces of wood, or picture frames of loved ones, or poems, or pieces of art. These are all tokens that pilgrims have carried for over 1,000 years and left at this place. So two quick stories. I met a couple of guys who really introduced me to the idea. I didn't know about this or so many things when I walked, but I met this guy called Lucas, and he was carrying the ashes of his best friend who had been killed in a car accident. He was due to be his best man, and Lucas was due to get married, and his friend was meant to be the best man, but he was hit in this accident. And Lucas hated hiking. He hated walking. He was a car person, really into classic cars. And yet he was walking the Camino, carrying his friend's ashes to fulfill the dreams of his friend who never got to do the Camino. And that really just epitomizes what makes a pilgrimage different, right? It's that selflessness. It's going on an arduous journey, not just for yourself, but for something else, somebody else, something greater than yourself. Another story, another guy I met, became good friends with, is called Yves. He was French, and he had spent time in a mental asylum. And, he had a really tough time in there, and he suffered, some challenges, some abuse. And he would sit at the window of the hospital at night and dream of walking the Camino. And when he finally got out of there, he set out on the Camino. And I had this big heavy bag because, I didn't know what I was doing back then, and I was carrying everything I owned. But one day I picked up his bag, and it was so much heavier. And, I said, what the hell have you got in this bag? And, he opened up and he showed me, and he had 4 huge rocks in his bag with the name of each of his friends that were still in the asylum. And he really felt that if he could carry them the whole way and then lay them to rest at this place, that he would be honoring his friends, but also somehow they would be sharing in the experience with him. They would get to feel free. So, yeah, a couple of examples of why a pilgrimage is not just a long walk. So, the Camino, like us, is multidimensional. What do I mean by that? As humans, we have a physical element. And you'll hear people describe the Camino in physical terms, right? It was hard. It was so beautiful. The churches were, they described that physicality. And then there's our emotional body, our emotional self. I cried so much, I felt so alone. Or, when I reached the end, I was so elated. Right? This is our emotional experience of it. The mental, the overthinking, worried about where are you going to stay the next day? What are you going to eat? Is it safe to walk through these woods at night? Is it safe to go further? What should I do? Or maybe you just found clarity. There's this mental level to things. And of course, there's a spiritual level too, which really sums up is, I found something greater than myself and my concerns. And the Camino will touch you on each of those levels and more than we can perhaps explain here. So why would you walk the Camino? Well, I know every single person on this call is already wide awake and already, along that journey. But yeah, it's worth just bringing a little focus to what we're all living through, right? We're living through disconnection. We live in an age of mobile phones, and weirdly, we're all feeling lonelier than ever. We're getting less time in nature. How many of us go to sleep when the sun goes down? How many of us wake with the sun rising? How many of us know where north, south, east, and west is? How many of us really get to enjoy a healthy relationship with our surroundings? Many of us are overstimulated. Again, the phones, the news media, all of that, overwhelmed with all the pressures of life. And I think that basically stems from a disconnection from source, right? And again, I think everyone on this call is already exploring their ways of connecting or strengthening their ways of connecting with source. And, why is that so important? We've lived through this age of Dawkins and Harris and, the great atheists, and the culture has been telling us for many years that to be religious or spiritual is mumbo jumbo, mumbo jumbo, right? It's all nonsense. It's just superstition. And we've been told just to focus on the physical, on what we can touch, what we can accumulate, what we can measure. And we all know that's just not the answer. Those things bring us great blessings and lots of comfort. But if we're disconnected from source, if we don't have or nurture that connection with source, then we're always going to feel half empty, and we're going to feel undernourished. And that's going to lead to addictions. It's going to lead to conflicts. It's going to lead to codependencies, because we're going to seek in others, people closest to us, our partners, our friends. We're going to seek for them what we're missing from source. But nobody can really give us what source can give us, and so how do we reestablish that connection, especially when we're living in this kind of material concrete jungle all the time, or this sort of frequency of fear that's pushed in the news and the media and things. So I love this quote. I don't know who first said it, but tradition solved the problem that we no longer remember. Right. And I often think of pilgrimage as being like an ancient solve for modern ills. Right. When we go out on a pilgrimage, we step into the unknown, and we interrupt those patterns of familiarity, the patterns of routine, where everything's kind of safe, and we've organized it just the way we want to make us feel safe. But patterns that we accumulate, whilst they might serve us at some stages of our life, when we're transitioning into a different stage, those same patterns that supported us can really start to strangle us, start to weigh us down. And so going on a pilgrimage really gives us an incredible opportunity to experience the new surroundings. So every day, for example, you set off into the unknown and you arrive at a new destination, and your backpack with all your little things in it becomes like your home. You're like a snail, right? And you sort of cling to these things, your socks and your little bit of things that you're carrying. They sort of take on this more importance. And you arrive at a hostel or whatever, and then you make yourself comfortable and you check everything out and you start to feel safe. And then the following morning, you start the process again. You start the process of letting go of your comforts and what's familiar, and stepping out again once more into this field of potential, right? This field of what can be. And as a result of that, we can really learn to self-regulate ourselves, which is so important, right? Learning to be comfortable alone, whether it's walking out alone or traveling alone, learning to take care of ourselves. Taking care of yourself in a very fundamental way. As an example, sometimes you're hiking along for many hours and you might get a little pebble in your shoe, tiny little stone, and you think, it's okay, I'll stop in a mile, or I'll stop at the next village. But if you don't attend to that little stone over a few miles, a few hours of walking, that stone is going to give you big, big problems, right? And so it really teaches you, being in this process of walking day after day after day, it teaches you the importance of taking care of the little things, right? And also being eco-regulated. Okay, what do I mean by that? All of us here have had the experience where you step outside, maybe you go into a forest or you arrive at the beach, and you just feel like your whole nervous system just, all right. Like maybe for me, it's when I go back to England and I hear the bird song of English birds in the woods. Something very deep just just settles. It's like being picked up by the Earth Mother or something. It's a really sweet feeling. So when you're in a pilgrimage, every day you're in nature, you're walking with nature. And I found, for example, when I walked to Rome, there is this symbiotic relationship that takes place between your inner world and your outer world. And so maybe one day I was walking through this like ravine of cliffs and very narrow, and my mental state became very narrow. My thoughts were very fast and short and sharp, and just had a frantic quality to them. And then when I emerged out of this gorge, it opened up into this wide vista. And it's like, wow, my breathing became more expansive, and like my thoughts became more expansive. And it was only, after walking with that, after a while, you start to notice, wow, I'm really affected by my environment. And, we all know this, but it's different to know something and to really experience it on an embodied level, an embodied way. And why that's important is when you go back into the world of cities and towns and traffic jams and going to work, the commute, all of that, it's so easy to forget. But when you've embodied it over a long period of time, such as on a retreat or pilgrimage, it stays with you, and you're able to just like drop back in. You're able to just connect to that and recognize that all of this noise and franticness, okay, what's that? How's that affecting me? What low level of anxiety am I experiencing? We can't all just like move off into the countryside and raise chickens. Some of us, we have to stay in the city, and lots of great reasons for that. But if we're not aware of the effect on our bodies, on our breathing, we're stuck in a traffic jam and you're in this like plastic metal box, with fumes and people being aggro, and you might crash and that's going to cost you loads of money, or you might hurt someone, or you might be hurt. It's a lot of anxiety just bubbling away. And then you get home or into the office and you snap at each other. It's no surprise, but also that low level anxiety over time becomes chronic. It can affect your health in a very severe way. So that's what I mean by becoming eco-regulated and spiritually regulated. Having the space to hear and feel. I often talk about it as, people use tarot cards as a way to commune with something greater, right? To have things reflected back at you. And my experience of being on a pilgrimage, being able to open up in a certain way, what I call walking with the open heart, is that relationship as it gets stronger, as you get more open. And maybe many of you have already experienced this, but life begins to talk to you. It talks to you through the birds. It talks to you through little moments, little things. You all know what they are, whether it's a song that comes on at just that right moment on the radio, or a bird just comes to see you in just a particular moment, and there's something being communicated to you. So for me, spirit, the connection with spirit and the divine, whether that's our own higher self or it's something higher than us, something deeper, something something grander, is a little bit like a wild horse, right? And how do you approach a wild horse? How do you get a wild horse to approach you? You have to develop trust. You have to show that you're listening and you're feeling, and that you're open, and that you're willing to be humble, and that you're listening with your heart and your whole being. And when you can do that, the wild horse comes to you and you're able to ride it. And in the riding, you feel like you're flying.
Yes,
So,
Peter, just letting you know that we reach half an hour. So
brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I'll speed through.
So you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. So just quickly, there's this metaphor of a pearl. Renata and I and Rebecca were at this wonderful talk yesterday, and they were talking about how the clamshell sort of contracts and expands and contracts and expands. And all the while, this grit has been accumulated in it, right? And the grit eventually becomes the pearl. And that beauty of the pearl, beauty really is truth. And the beauty of the pearl is the truth of its journey. It doesn't deny that it was grit. It simply shines this radiance of what it was and what it's become. And I think this is such a beautiful way of looking at things because, for a lot of different religions and different philosophies, they teach this idea, we lived in perfection and then, Adam and Eve, they ate the apple and brought sin into the world. And we've all been falling from grace and everything's getting worse, right? And we all, it's all very heavy. But if you see things in reverse, if you see that actually maybe we are all grit learning to shine, right? That we're all heading into something through the truth of what we are. We become beautiful and we radiate that beauty out. And I think that really encapsulates the journey of the pilgrimage. So, yeah, as a question for each of you to just ponder is, where are you expanding and contracting in your own lives? How does that feel for you? And are you able to hold both the expansion and contraction? Are you able to hold both of those things as sacred? Right? So, yeah, I'll perhaps skip over this, but those of you who've read Walk With Me, you know about the birth, life, and death, and rebirth. And we're going to sort of explore that in the breathwork at the end. Yeah, the alchemy, again, it's like we all get to be the alchemist in our own lives. And as Paulo Coelho would talk about the soul of the world, and that's what I think we experience when we feel life communicating with us. So you've all probably heard of The Alchemist. You've all probably heard of Paulo Coelho. He wrote a book called The Pilgrimage, but The Alchemist was the book that really launched him to fame and captured the spirit, the essence of the Camino. So he said, don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. And if a person is living out of his or her personal legend, they know everything they need to know. There's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve, and that's the fear of failure. And this is one of my personal favorites from Frank Herbert from Dune. It says, a person needs new experiences. They jar something deep inside, allowing them to grow. Without change, something sleeps within us and seldom awakens. The sleeper must awaken. And so, we're all familiar with the concept of awakening. And the truth is we all have many awakenings through many stages of our life. And, we'll continue to do so as we continue to grow. And of course, this is the best author who's written about the Camino. So for me, it's like when I started the Camino, I said, walk with me, Dad. And when I finished the Camino, I said, go, be free, Dad. Thank you for all your love. And in the letting go, I thereafter found him in all things. And so to sum that up, pilgrimages can help us face our fears, awaken to new realities and new visions or versions of ourselves. And pilgrimages can help us find healing from grief, solace from suffering, and inspiration to live a better life. So I'll shoot through this very quickly. Little history on the Camino. Before it was a Christian pilgrimage, it's believed that the Celts would walk the same road along a ley line. And Santiago Compostela means field of stars or lake of where the star fell. And it's believed a meteorite landed, created this big crater, and that became a lake. Now, the Celts believed that lakes were holy. Water, you think of King Arthur, lady in the lake with the sword. Celts from all over Europe and Eurasia would travel to this location to cast in items like swords and things and make prayers to the gods. And of course, there's the Christian significance too. So the pilgrimage, as we understand it and sort of walk in this tradition, is to the shrine of St. James in Santiago. He was one of Jesus's 12 apostles, and he sailed to. You can see here. This is a map of old Roman roads. He sailed to the Balearics, to Ibiza, all the way from Judea. A little rave in Ibiza, I heard, and then he landed here and travelled along what is the Camino, this old Roman road, following that ley line. And he was preaching the gospel, and I understand we all have different relationships to religions, and mine is complex, everyone's is complex. We all have good and bad things that talk to us about them. But I just want to draw your attention to just how radical Christianity was back in that time, and how it was very different to what we understand it to be now also. There's a quote here: people are not crucified for helping poor people. People are crucified for joining them. So what does that mean? Well, Christianity really upended the order of things, right? In the Roman Empire, it was very machismo culture. If you're a Roman, you had the right to take any man or woman as a slave. You could do whatever you wanted to do. And it was encouraged. That was a way of showing the dominance, right? And it was a hierarchical structure. The Romans at the top, everyone else beneath that. And what the Christian message is about, and what Jesus was teaching really, was this radical idea that actually, the low will be high and high will be low. And, blessed are the meek, and, that it is in helping those that are less fortunate than us, that's how we become raised high. So it was absolutely radical, and people died by the thousands for that idea. Before this, people would sacrifice to gods, right? They would sacrifice animals, children, whatever. But Christianity was the first religion where it said, as I understand it, first religion that said, actually, God is going to sacrifice itself for us, right? So things to ponder. We don't want to go into it too much, but it's important to understand that the pilgrimage of the Camino is really maintained and supported by that Christian tradition. And so there's a focus on kindness, helping one another, helping strangers. Here's another quote from those times. This was an ancient Greek called Thucydides. And he said, the strong will do as they will, and the weak must suffer what they must. And so Christians came really radically change that. Just want to draw your attention to what it'd be like being a pilgrimage back in those days, because if you walk this pilgrimage, you're walking in their footsteps. Okay, so there was no, in this time, medieval times, there was very little law and order, very little infrastructure, no roads. There would have been wolves and bears and bandits, and even the local knights and barons probably would have bullied you and stole from you. There was no maps, and so when I walked to Rome, I had GPS, but at times I'd lose that signal, and it really put me into the sense of gratitude. Oh my God, like doing this 1,000 years ago, you don't know where you were going and who you were going to meet, and incredible challenges. And when you walk on these paths, you're walking in those footsteps, and it's just good to know this. The Camino, the scallop shell, that is a symbol of the Camino. It was used by pilgrims to identify themselves. And even now, if you're walking in Europe with a scallop shell, people will help you, right? People that have done the Camino will help you. Okay, this was the Knights of Santiago. Kind of moving through this quickly. They were a knightly order set up to protect pilgrims on those routes, right? They protected them from the robber, the barons, the enemies. And so I just want to read this to you quickly. When we walk the Camino, we are walking in the footsteps of thousands of seekers over thousands of years, devotees, explorers, saints, sinners, people who have felt broken by life, who have suffered great loss, who are seeking redemption and forgiveness, as well as those who simply walked life for love of God, of the divine mysteries, feel free, to celebrate and mark milestone in their lives. It includes those who face crossroads and junctures of change, seeking guidance, those who found healing and personal growth in their journey, those who were inspired by the divine, and those who never lost sight of hope, no matter how hard the journey became. These are what I call the warriors of the open heart, the people who are willing to step out of the known, the safe, the familiar, the comfortable, and to find out who they really are, and to return to life with more to offer than what they took when they left. So, the last image, if you walk the Camino at night, you see the Milky Way, and they say that the Milky Way is made up of all the souls of pilgrims who have walked before. So I'm just going to skip through this, but this quote here from Joe Dispenza: there's no room for the unknown in your predictable life. I want to ask each of you, is there room in your life for the unknown? You want to experience more bliss, more divinity, more creativity? Do you make space for it? And then we got on to Retreats in Motion. This is a section we walk. It's 89 kilometers over 5 days from St. Jean to Pamplona. And Knights versus Warriors of the Open Heart. So those guys running this retreat, we want to be like the Knights of Santiago for you, right? We want to fight off the bed bugs and protect you from snorers. But we want to, keep you safe, help you to facilitate you to have a journey of a lifetime, and to just create a supportive environment where you can really embrace the magic of the Camino. So I just want to add something because we've had a change. We've got Debs, who's going to be joining us for the Camino retreat, and she's an amazing vegan chef, and she's going to be coming on the walk and preparing us some wonderful vegan food. So we're going to be able to all eat together and just celebrate at each day's end, and that's going to add like a really wholesome element to it. We've got the accommodation here. So the price for a double room is, and for everything included, is 1,500. Shared room, single bed is 1,300. And our early bid discount has finished, but we've decided we're going to extend it for one more week. So if anyone wants to come along and you want to put your deposit down before the 24th, you get another $150 discounted. So special offer time. Again, if you put your deposit down before the end of this week, you'll get a Retreat in Motion t-shirt with your own name on it. You'll get a digital free copy of Walk With Me by Peter Lee, and you'll get a free yoga session with Vaida. So, and of course, anyone that's already booked will get those too. And there we go. Down to the Q&A.
Yes, thank you so much, Peter.
Thank you, Peter.
Sorry, that went on so long. I'm really sorry about that.
No, it was mesmerizing. So thank you.
Yes. So yeah, we will do even more like detailed Q&A closer to the date. So we still want to have a bit of time for breathwork meditation. So yeah, just a few questions and all the details, in terms of like where you're flying from and where you can take the train, all these details, Peter can share with you through email, through messages. So maybe we can skip these type of questions just for the sake of saving time, because all those details can be sent to you. And yeah, maybe some deeper questions and some other thoughts that came from beautiful presentation that Peter just offered to us. So yeah, we have maybe about 10 minutes for Q&A, and we will run over time a bit over an hour. If you can stay with us, great. If not, you can come back to the recording and we'll do another 10-15 minutes breathwork meditation, something shorter. But yeah, you can unmute yourselves and fire away with some questions.
Yeah, maybe just raise your hand if you have a question, or unmute yourself and feel free just to speak it out.
It doesn't even have to be a question, maybe observation, maybe some insight, came to your mind listening to Peter. Yeah, let's hear your voices.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you, Peter. I mean, I think the part that kind of stuck out to me was I really appreciated speaking about how it was a new beginning, like every day having that opportunity to kind of scrap it and then getting out of your comfort zone again. And then you kind of get comfortable by the end of the day. And then the next day you have to release it. And that really stuck with me as a really kind of an edge, which I thought was a really cool perspective. So yeah, just to share that reflection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you, Scott, said, how was that expression? What was that, Peter? Like, oh, now it's not in my mind.
Eco-regulation.
Thank you. I'm like,
Yeah.
the word didn't stay, but the feeling did. Yeah, I completely felt
Really
that.
like that concept.
Yeah, like you said, with your English birds, or for me, it's my Lithuanian forest. That's where I'm from. For you guys to understand my accent. Yeah, every time I go back to forest, I just feel like I speak with all the forest gods and everything there. It's just amazing what it can do.
For me, it's when I'm around anything vast in nature, whether it's like looking up into space and seeing the stars at night, or in the mountains, or just sitting by the ocean, looking out to the blue expanse. I get that definite eco-regulation where you just like, feel that connectedness. Yeah.
And maybe I'll put someone on spot, and please, you don't have to share, Lisa, but you obviously walked Camino a few times yourself. So maybe you want to share something from your experience or what resonated with Peter's insights.
How did I know you were going to ask me? I was already. Yeah, I think I mean, I've done the Portuguese Porto to Santiago, which was incredible. I mean, I can't describe how incredible it was, but it was life-changing. And I always vowed then that I would do one every year since, because it is so beautiful to give yourself that space to just do those pilgrimages. And me, I'm a person that likes to walk alone. I like to do them all alone. People do gravitate towards you, don't they? And they attach to you and they want to walk with you. And I seem to spend most of my time trying to get rid of them, just because I need that time to myself. I think what I'd be really interested in this, you were saying you were walking at night. That scares the crap out of me, but it's something that I would really like to do, but I wouldn't want to do that on my own. So is there kind of a facility within this retreat to walk sometime at night, even if it's not through the night?
Yeah, that's a great idea. And yeah, absolutely. We can definitely factor that in. Obviously, because we've got, we can, I mean, I would love to walk at night. And I've done it a few times when I was on the Camino. So yeah, if some of us wanted to get up and do, I know we could get up really early in the morning and set off early or something, or yeah, we can definitely factor that in. Or, even if it's just walking a little bit at night and returning to where we're all staying, we can definitely look at ways of exploring that. I think before the retreat itself, maybe a week before, probably more than that, but at least the week before, we'll have a call and we'll really sort of hone in to different aspects that people are hoping for, and just, we can arrange things just to really make sure everyone's getting the needs and hopes met.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
I was going to say, I have to finish the Via Podonesis, which I started last year. It got rained off, so I've probably got 11 days left to get to Saint Jean Pied de Port. So it's possible that I might tag that on before, actually.
Well, I would love to have you, Lisa. Yeah, I would love to have you.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But I wanted to, kind of add on to this exchange that, for us, it's very important to build this like heart-bound community here. So like Peter said, we will have a call a week or two before to really listen to everyone's kind of like ideas, because we have, an idea, and of course, Peter is our guide and, the experienced one in terms of actual walking and knowing, where to go. So there is an idea and the plan, but we are very open to, like deviating a little bit from it and just work as a community, and hear everyone out. So yeah. Is that true, Peter?
Absolutely, you're in safe hands. Yeah, I mean, a little note on the walking is what I do is, I will always be the slowest person And I mean, normally when I hike, I want to be the person at the front. I don't want to see another human. I want to, imagine I'm in nature and no one else is there. But when I'm leading these retreats, I'm the slowest person. And the reason for that is, if you're walking alone, and you twist your ankle or something, that eventually I'm going to catch you up. Right. And so, Scott and Vaida might be in the middle or at the very front, and, I'll be at the back, or one of us will be at the back. So, that's just an example of one of the ways we're going to take care of you on the walk. But, we don't want it to feel suffocating. We don't want you to feel like you're being nannied. We want to create the spaciousness for you to have an adventure, right? Because it should be an adventure. And so, we're going to stand off as much as you need us to. But if you need someone to walk with you, like, we're going to be there side by side with you the whole way. And, there's not going to be any like military style cajoling and pushing. Everyone is encouraged to go at their own pace and to have their own experience. And, that's what it's all about. It's just, you finding you on the walk.
Yeah, and we will have kind of like a proposition each day on a theme. It could be the day where we start as more like a group walking to connect, to really create, this community feel. And then we're going to have day when we will be encouraging solo type of walk. So you experience, things very differently, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it. It will be just an invitation. The themes and different type of walks. But yeah, like Peter said, if you still want to be with someone and you feel better that way, of course you can do it. And if you want to walk alone, even though it's a group day, like, you are allowed to, we obviously want everyone to choose for themselves, but we will be having suggestions and invitations for you to experience a lot in those 5 days, because of course the full Camino would last for months. So in 5 days, we want to have you a bit of a different type of experiences. We want you to feel that comfort and community feel, but we also want you to feel what real pilgrimage would most likely feel if you would maybe want to be doing by yourself later and continue.
Yeah. And I should say, we've at least got one other person that's booked on, Haley. I don't think it's Haley here. I don't think she's here. But she's going to walk the whole Camino. So she's doing the first, 5 days with us, and then she's going to keep going. And I think Rose, you're maybe thinking of doing that too. And, that's part of what we want to do. We want to create the confidence in you to keep going, and also to do it. I was very blessed when I first did it, because the person I met on the first day, they didn't tell me every detail. They respected me enough to allow me to find things out. Okay. And so, it is a balance, but we want to give you the confidence to go and to discover the journey for yourself. What we don't want to do is say, this is how it's going to be. This is, you go here, do that. My philosophy at least is, you want to turn each day should be like the turning of a page in your own story, right? And you're going to discover it as the first reader. But we're going to give you the confidence and the knowledge to feel like you can keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any more questions or sharings before we do our little meditation? Great. I think we will definitely do more of these talks where we can talk more logistical. Today was more presentational type of event. We will do a bit more logistical one. We will be doing sharing ideas one, and we'll be doing some storytelling, once as well. So yeah, a few more events ahead of us, and you obviously can contact us all in private for like logistics and other details. So I'll give it back to Peter for those who can stay a little bit longer. Is about 15 minutes enough, Peter, or how long would you say?
It's probably going to be about allows 30 minutes on the outside. I think it's probably best to say. So the meditation itself is about 20 minutes. I'll give like a quick 2-3 minute explainer of the technique. And then it'd be nice for you to have a few minutes afterwards just to sit in the the beautiful spaciousness that's created through the practice. So if you need to quickly go to the toilet or grab some water, do that. But if you don't need to do that, maybe just stand up and stretch or something, you know, just get the blood moving again. You know, just give yourself a nice stretch or something, you know,
And
then get yourself comfortable.
Yeah, and I'll just say thank you for being here. We might need to leave a little bit earlier because we have some other meeting to attend. But thank you so much for being here, and we'll share all the information and the recording in our Camino group, and invite friends, even if they don't want to do this July retreat. And they are interested in future retreats, you know, let them join the group. They are invited to these free online events as well. We really want to build community, not for only this retreat, but for years to come.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, mate. All righty. So those of you who've stayed behind, thank you so much. And yeah, just get yourself comfortable. Could you just get a little show of hands? Anyone done breathwork before? A couple of you have. So this technique is something called Soma breath. Some of you may have heard of it. And it's you can do it sitting up or lying down if you prefer. I'll be playing a music track, and on the track is the guidance of the breathing. Okay. So there's going to be 2 rounds of breathing. The first round is going to be through the nose, in for 2, and then out through the mouth for 4. So in for 2, out for 4. So it looks something like this. Yeah, super easy. It's going to have a rhythm to it on the music, and there'll be a voice, a male voice, kind of counting that rhythm. So in, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. And then over that, I'll be sort of guiding you on a visual journey. So yeah, just make yourself comfortable. You may, if you've got like a eye mask or something, you can put that on. Otherwise, just to let your eyes close, right? Just close your eyes. And yeah, take a big inhale through the nose. And then out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose. Out through the mouth. Good. And then just in your own way, just find a way to relax. So maybe with each breath, just seeing if you can relax yourself a little bit more. As your eyes are closed and you're turning your gaze inwards, just noticing anywhere there's any tension. Could be in the shoulders or in your belly. Just relax that belly, allow your belly to hang out. You know, so often we're holding it in. So just allowing your belly to hang loose. And even you can place your hand, one hand on your heart and one hand on your chest, your belly, sorry. And yeah, just noticing how the breath is moving in and out of you. What's your relationship like your breath just now? Does it feel easeful? Does it feel tight? And if it's the latter, can you just relax a little bit more? Can you invite a little bit more spaciousness inside of you? So yeah, we're going to play this track. It's about 20 minutes long. And so the first round of guided breathing is in for the count of 2 and out for the count of 4. And what that's doing is putting us into a state of relaxation. And the second round of breathing is going to be in for the count of 4 through the nose, and then out through the mouth again for the count of 4. And so as we're breathing in and out evenly, what we're doing is creating a state of heart coherence. So that what that means is that our body, like nature, it runs in cycles. And so if we create balance in our breathing, we create balance in our heart rhythm, and then all of our other cycles, our hormonal cycles, for example, everything will begin to synchronize in a balanced way. So the first round of breathing, it's going to be in for 2, out for 4. And the second round of breathing is going to be in for 4 and out for 4. Now between those 2 rounds of breathing, there is the opportunity to do a breath hold. And this will be guided, so be guided by the voice on the track, but also I'll help guide this for you. And just something you need to know is, you don't have to do the breath hold. Okay, you're going to get a lot of benefit just from doing the rhythmic breathing. But if you do choose to do it, just know that it is safe. It can feel uncomfortable because we're used to sort of not holding our breath, right? And so there's a certain tension that can arise for us. But the invitation to you is to relax into the breath holding. And in fact, not to think of it as a breath hold, but just think of it as a letting go, right? We're always in this expansion and contraction. We're always breathing in, out, inhale, exhale. And that's what life is. And so when we engage in a breath hold practice, it's an opportunity for us to press pause on life, right? To press pause and really sink down into the seat of our soul and just be with ourselves, right? Now, the space between, it's an opportunity to hold your breath for about 1, 2, 3 minutes. For most people, you're going to feel like you can only hold your breath for 30 seconds or something, and that's completely fine. If you need to take an inhale, you can do a little quick sip. So be like this, and then you can continue to hold the breath. So I'll just demonstrate it. You feel free to open your eyes and watch me. So I'll be doing the breath practice in. And then the guidance will say, take a full inhale in. And then it'll say exhale. And I'll exhale till I've got no more air. And I'm going to drop my chin to my chest and just hold my breath. Okay. And I'll hold my breath and hold my breath. And if it gets really sort of feel like I really need to breathe, then I can do a little, and that'll just create a little more spaciousness for you. And then I'll guide you to take a full inhale. And then we're going to hold the breath on the inhale. So you'll hold your breath on the inhale. And then I want you to squeeze your pelvic floor. So that's the muscle that you contract when you don't want to go to the toilet, right? When you're trying to hold it in. So you squeeze that and then just shoot the energy up through the third eye. And we'll hold the breath a little while. And then again, we'll release, and we'll release with a sigh. Okay, so be, ah. Okay, and then you'll have a moment or two, just breathe normally. And then the second round of breathing will start. And when that ends, we'll do a breath hold again. So if you're pregnant or you have hypertension or you've had heart surgery or something like that, don't do the breath holding, just do the rhythmic breathing. But otherwise, it's completely good for everybody else. So yeah, try not to worry about it. What I find is the first round, because this is new to you, you'll probably be overthinking about it. Don't worry about it. Once you've done the first breath hold and you're into the second round of breathing, the 4-4, you'll find you start feeling it a lot easier and you can relax a little bit. So the invitation is just try and relax, right? You're going to hear the counting and you can't really do it wrong. If you find yourself out of sync, just pause and then bring yourself back in. Okay. Okay, when everyone's ready, just close your eyes. And I'll begin the music in a moment. And what I want everyone to do is just find a way to come back to yourself. Right? Just come back to who you are. Yeah, maybe you all have a way of just grounding into yourself, anchoring into you. Could be just placing your hand on your heart. Could be feeling into your spine where it meets the ground, your cushion. Okay, so we're beginning the music. Rebecca, just give me a thumbs up. Can you hear the music? Right. It's need to be audio. Okay. Okay. Yeah, with your eyes closed, I want you to just tune into the sound of my voice. I want you to allow my voice to guide you on a vision, a journey of the imagination. I want you to remember a time in your life where you felt excited, where you felt grateful. Just grateful for being alive. Could have been when you fell in love, when you met your soulmate. Could have been when you got a puppy or a kitten, or you completed a project, or something meaningful, something that made you feel, I'm so glad to be having this human experience. And then just sitting there with your eyes closed, remembering this, see if you can really feel it in your body. And I want you to smile on your face, because when you smile, physically you signal to your heart that you're happy. So I want you to just smile, physically smile, and just feel that good feeling, that feeling of gratitude, feeling of excitement. As you breathe, if you can expand your breathing a little bit. As you breathe, send it into your heart and smile with your heart. What's the quality of smiling in your heart? What does that feel like? You amplify that good feeling with your breath. When you breathe in, you just amplify that good feeling, that smiling feeling, that grateful feeling. As you breathe out, breathe it out too, because then you're giving it out to the world. And what you give away comes back. And so you create this beautiful loop of gratitude, smiling energy. And I want you now to visualize as though you're watching a movie in your mind, that you stand before an open doorway. It's a doorway made of pearls. Each of these pearls are from moments in your life. And you see that door, you see that opening, and you feel that gratitude. And I want you to now vision yourself stepping forward through that doorway. Now you're embarking upon a journey. Maybe you see yourself in hiking boots, shorts, t-shirt with a rucksack. Maybe you bend down and you pull your laces tight, and you fasten them. As you stand, you find yourself walking on green grass. Dawn of a new day. As you step into this new adventure, you hear a gentle voice whisper to you, you are ready. Every step you take brings you closer to who you are meant to become. Breathing in time to the rhythm. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. Ah. In, 2, out, 2, 3. Ah. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. See if you can get that breath to move to your lower lungs. You breathe in, your belly expands. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. You step out onto this pilgrim's journey. You see the dawn light breaking over mountains ahead of you. See the light cascade in bars of gold. You see the fields spring into life around you. You see butterflies and birds and a clear blue sky above. And I want you to imagine, if you will, that as you're breathing in, you're powering yourself forward, up a path, higher into the valley, higher up into the hills. Imagine yourself climbing up the mountains as though you're climbing the Pyrenees, border between France and Spain. Staying connected to the rhythm, expanding on the inhale, contracting on the exhale, just letting go. In, 2, out, 2, 3, 4. On. You really see yourself living the life of a pilgrim now, hiking the Camino trail, descending down the mountains into Spain. You see the rhythm of your footsteps manifest in the world around you. You feel the warmth of the sun, cool of the breeze on your skin. You encounter fellow pilgrims, exchanging kindness, sharing stories and laughter and support. And you feel that joy. You hear that voice. It says you're exactly where you need to be. Keep moving forward. Keep your heart open. Embrace every experience, every challenge, every joy. You feel yourself grow stronger, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Pass through churches and cobbled lanes. You see cathedrals with beautiful stained glass windows. You encounter kindness and the opportunity to be kind. You grow in cities, and cities recede back into countryside. Stay connected to this rhythm, the breathing. As we step out into the countryside, we approach the first breath hold. We take a full inhale in, breathe fully in. And then breathe fully out. Full exhale. When you're empty of air, just hold the breath and drop your chin down. Just relax. Sink in now into the silence of your soul. Sink into this sacred place, your inner world. refuge for you that's always available to you, ever present. Relaxing the body, letting go of tension. Like approaching that wild horse, opening your heart, knowing that you're safe. And if you need to breathe, if you need to take a little sip in, you can just see if you can go further, see if you can go beyond your edge. When we approach or go beyond our edge, that's how we grow. We step into the uncomfortable, the unfamiliar. That's how we find out who we really are. How we train ourselves to be stronger, to be resilient. And again, if you need to take a little sip in, you can take a sip in. If you can keep holding, that's beautiful. So just keep going. You're doing so well. You're so good. Just embracing the sacred silence inside of yourself. A little bit further, and if you count down in your mind, 10, 9, 8, 7. When you reach 1, I want you to take a full inhale in. Take a full inhale in and then hold when you're at full inhale. And squeeze your pelvic floor and just feel the energy rising up through the spine, up through the heart. And sending this good feeling, this energy up through your third eye. Just really seeing yourself on this journey. And in your own time, when you're ready, you can expel the air, just let the breath go. Oh. Good. And then just return to a normal breathing pattern. And really use this moment just to check in with yourself. You might feel some tingling in the fingers, you might feel a little dizziness, or some tingling in the lips and numbness. And again, just returning to the practice, returning to the journey. Imagining yourself now striding out into the countryside once more. Breathing in a rhythm of 4 in and 4 out. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 3, 4. That's right, you've got it. Really relaxing into the breath, expanding the lungs, and just letting the breath go with a nice open mouth. That's right, just keep that rhythm going. Two, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Keep that rhythm going. Now we enter the phase of the pilgrimage, the phase of the Camino, the death of the pilgrim. This is where you really get to go on that inner journey, visualizing the desert area, a long path stretching before you, flat horizon, no beautiful forest or mountain, just flat, yellow desert. Without the beauty of nature, you go inside, and all your past, pain long pushed down, perhaps grief carried silently, begins to journey with you. Just give yourself the opportunity to feel whatever wants to be felt, and acknowledge whatever it is you've been carrying inside of you. And bringing the breath to the parts of you that were not able to breathe in the past. In, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Really go for it. Really expand the lungs. Really let go on the exhale. Think of supercharging yourself. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Again, just embrace the unfamiliar feelings. Embrace the tingling. Embrace the dizziness. Embrace the aliveness, feeling your blood flow around your veins as oxygen moves around your body. Two, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. We're almost there, just keep going. Really embrace these last few breaths. Now breathe fully in. Breathe fully out. When you're fully out, again, just holding the breath, letting your chin fall to your chest, locking the energy. As you enter this sacred place, you feel and hear that voice. It's okay to rest. Release what no longer serves you. Let go of your doubts and fears. You are safe. Allow this old part of you to gently, with gratitude, fall away. As you do so, you feel a sense of surrender, letting go of burdens you've carried, feeling a deep release and peace settling into your heart. Again, just embracing the stillness, embracing the release, the softness. See if you can find the softness inside of you. So you're settling into a comfortable, warm, loving place. And out of this place, you'll find the rebirth of the pilgrim, the last stage of your journey. Enjoying that meditation. And if you want to breathe, take a little and exhale. Otherwise, keep holding, keep softening, keep opening. Take a full inhale in. Then hold on the inhale. Squeeze the pelvic floor. Let that energy just circulate. Visualize it circulating up your spine, up through your heart, through your throat, the third eye. And in your own time, when you're ready, you can release your breath in a long sigh or tone. Ah. Allow your breath to return to a normal breathing pattern. And allow your mind to swim in these creative waters stimulated by the DMT release of this practice. Pay attention to any visions or colors, any insights that appear. And to imagine now, if you will, that you have reached the end of your journey, the end of the Camino, and before you is the ocean. You're overlooking a cliff. The sun is gleaming on the water. You feel a renewed sense of freedom, of clarity and inspiration. A deeper understanding fills you. And you hear that voice once again, gently but strongly. You've traveled far and courageously. Send love, encouragement, and compassion back along your journey to your past self. Remember how brave you are. Maybe now send that love back to yourself in a time in your life when you were really in need of presence and connection. You really needed to know how strong you were and how that you were not alone. Send that love back. To bring your hand to your heart and your other hand to place just on your lower belly. Really just feel that love, that support and guidance for yourself. You always have access to. And I want you to bring your hands together and start to rub them. Really generate heat. When they're nice and hot, I want you to place them palms over your eyelids. Just allow your eyelids to soak in that heat. Just enjoy any colours or patterns that you reveal to you. Any good sensations. And when you're ready, you can just open your eyes in the dark of your palms. Gently, slowly open your fingers a little wider and a little wider. Just welcoming yourself back into the space, back into the room. And so, an invitation now. If you'd like to turn your camera on and just join the circle. Maybe we can just go around from top across in a clockwise direction. And maybe you can just share how that meditation was for you and anything that came up for you, any feelings or insights or challenges, or anything at all, anything you want to share. So Renata, would you like to go first?
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. My time is still moving. Yeah, it was very beautiful. I felt like I was in the room. I have done meditations face to face with you and breath work, and I felt it was like I was with you in person. So it was very powerful. This wasn't new, like this routine. So I felt I didn't feel as challenged. Sometimes I feel holding. Today was fine. I had the lights off and I felt very nourished. So I just feel at the end, I felt, that expansion. It's just this flow. It's so beautiful, like feeling that contraction, expansion. And that, I love the guidance as well with the Camino, so gave me few pictures and images and that taste. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renata. Thank you. Rose, would you like to share anything?
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it was beautiful to really feel the breath opening up my body into places that actually felt quite held, but it wasn't until breathing, realizing that those places really needed to be opened and kind of attended to. So yeah, it felt beautiful to bring the breath there. Thank you. It's really kind of profound. I feel like I'm seeing everything now with more like clarity and color and aliveness. Yeah, thank you for guiding that. It's really beautiful to experience properly a breath work for the first time. And I did feel some rebelliousness in me when I was breathing, having to hold my breath, because I actually found it harder than I thought. And I was like, I'm just gonna breathe now. I don't want to hold my breath. So that was quite fun. I mean, that quite amused me to witness that part of myself that wasn't really wanting to hold the breath, or that couldn't. I was really actually found it difficult. But I was like, okay, I'll just breathe. It's okay. Yeah, and I was kind of seeing a correlation between the part of me there that's like, I guess the part of me that is questioning whether this retreat is right for me is this part of me which I get rebellious in a group situation. I like want to just go off and do my own thing, and I don't want to be like in the system or something. I was like, I really clearly saw that part of me coming up, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a limiting thing there. I just need to kind of, it's given me good material to kind of get into. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Rose. So lovely to see you. I want to have a proper catch up with you the next day or two. Yeah,
that'd be great.
So good to see
Cool.
you. Rebecca? Anything to share, Rebecca? Just unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, still sort of sitting with it, but it was really, yeah, really lovely. Appreciate the guidance, and yeah, also the visions like that you kind of brought with the kind of subtleties of the journey through the Camino all the way through the death. I thought that was really very special. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Kane and Gemma, do you want to on audio yourselves? Is there anything you want to say, or are you guys falling asleep in bed there? Do we have a Kane and Gemma? I think they were tuning in bed, which is why they didn't put the camera on. So maybe they've just zonked out. Let's see if they're in the chat. No. Okay, last call for Gemma and Kane. No. Okay. No worries. And I thought Lisa was there, but I think she's disappeared. Oh, all right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for attending. And yeah, I'm sorry it ran over a little bit. But yeah, thank you for sticking to the end. And those of you that are watching from home on the recording, thank you. And if you have any questions about the retreat or breathwork, or you want to do some more breathwork one-to-one or anything like that, just reach out to me, and yeah, it'd be an honor to speak to you in any which way. So yeah, we'll end it there. I'll just cease the recording.